We are all living in a series of patterns, and even the world around us is full of patterns.
You wake up at 6 a.m. to prepare for school. Your father arrives home at 6 p.m. after the rush hour. Your mother cooks your favorite meal during Fridays, and so on.
With all these patterns comes harmony, and sometimes harmony is subjective.
It might be good in your ears, but not to your neighbor. And there is no such thing as a bad harmony.
Sometimes, life goes into a very odd movement that steer us up, but overall, we are still within the frequency.
Welcome to the Harmony of Life, exploring Flora's role in nitrogen and sulfur cycles.
Let's start with the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen is the most abundant element in our atmosphere and can be found in soils, plants, the water we drink, and the air we breathe. It plays a vital role in Earth life as it is a key building block of our DNA, which determines our genetics and essential to plant growth that is tied up with the food we eat. Just like life in general, nitrogen also goes into a cycle. It starts with fixation, where it moves from the atmosphere into the soil. To be used by plants, fixation converts nitrogen in the atmosphere into forms that plants can absorb through their root systems. Next is mineralization. This stage takes place in the soil when microbes act on organic materials and begin to convert it to a form of ammonia, nitrogen that can be used by plants.
The ammonia in the soil is converted into compounds called nitrites and nitrates, are used by plants and animals that consume the plants, while nitrites cannot. Nitrobacter turns nitrites into nitrates. Nitrosomonas transform ammonia to nitrites. This process is called nitrification. Then we move to immobilization, which is the reverse of mineralization. Microorganisms living in the soil also require nitrogen as an energy source in which they pull nitrogen from the soil, causing nitrogen deficiency to plants. This process is important because it helps control and balance the amount of nitrogen in the soil by tying it up in microorganisms. Lastly is nitrification, where nitrogen returns to the air as nitrates are converted to atmospheric nitrogen by bacteria.
Shaping this world is humanity's responsibility. Their existence is a remark of change in how the world must function. However, dependencies comes into play. But how? Because their existence is dependent even on the natural cycles occurring in the earth, like sulfur cycle, the one responsible in closing destruction of organic matter in a anoxic zone.
Sulfur moves through geosphere and biosphere, and this is outlined through sulfur cycle. Sulfur is one of the essential elements that acts as the building blocks of all life on Earth, as they are required for all organisms' function.
In the modern era, the influence of human activities on the environment has become undeniable. This is called anthropogenic effects, the profound alterations caused by human actions on Earth's natural systems. In agriculture, artificial nitrogen fertilizers are commonly used on plants for higher crop yields to satisfy the demand of growing human population. But excessive use of nitrogen fertilizers can disrupt the healthy nitrogen cycle by damaging ecosystems, which can be toxic to faunas and floras. Most plants are killed due to the high nitrogen concentration in the soil, and it allows nitrogen-tolerant species to thrive and outcompete more sensitive wild plants and fungi. Excessive application of synthetic fertilizers has been shown to acidify soils as well, damaging soil health and reducing productivity of soils. Furthermore, excess nitrogen can easily make its way into water courses, hence drastically reducing the light and oxygen levels in the water. This alters plant communities and kills fish, which potentially may even cause marine dead zones where life cannot survive.
Human activities such as industrial processes and the burning of fossil fuels can artificially release sulfur dioxide and other sulfur compounds into the atmosphere. When these compounds are deposited into the soil as acid rain or dry deposition, they can damage trees and plants, inhibit plant growth, damage sensitive ecosystems and waterways, and alter soil chemistry. Excess sulfur deposition can lead to soil acidification, which can harm plants by affecting nutrient availability and disrupting microbial activity. Furthermore, sulfur dioxide also contributes to the formation of thick haze and smog, as well as contributes to respiratory illness by making breathing more difficult. Longer exposures can aggravate existing heart and lung conditions. The disruption of sulfur cycle harshly affects all living things that are reliant to it, which are all faunas and floras.
With the consequences known to men, it is just right that we resolve these issues to ensure that we preserve and prolong, or if not, to fully improve the quality of life. The best way to resolve these problems is through science itself and proper use of improved technology. For the nitrogen cycle, innovation in human activities in relation to nitrogens, like making fertilizers or recycling food waste, is a start. Identifying nitrogen leaks out of the system from the farm field to the feedlot to the sewage treatment plants and plugging them can enhance the efficiency of nitrogen absorption and bacteria, and it would have a great impact. Mitigating pollutions of overabundance of nitrogen to the environment is next. Improve agricultural practices, wastewater treatment, reforestation and ecosystem restoration, urban planning, stormwater management, and reducing emissions from the combustions are some of the current strategies that we are executing today should be fully supported.
As for the sulfur cycle, reduction of sulfur emissions should happen from industrial and energy production sources. This includes the use of cleaner technologies and processes, such as desulfurization technologies for power plants and industrial facilities. Next is the use of alternative energy sources, transitioning to cleaner and renewable energy sources such as wind, solar, and hydroelectric power reduces the combustion of fossil fuels that release sulfur compounds into the atmosphere. The use of innovative technologies also plays a vital role in this campaign. Research is ongoing to develop innovative technologies for sulfur capture and storage, like carbon capture and utilization and carbon capture and storage technologies.
As a human being, it is important to have an understanding on how things work in the world we're living in, at least a fair amount of the most critical knowledge. As we get through the proper understanding of things, we will slowly be more conscious and careful of our actions, knowing what the consequence will be if we continue to do these things, ultimately increasing our harmony with nature. Life is a form of music, and we set its harmony. Do you want to listen to a good music?